What's up, good people? How y'all doing today? This is J May. Let's get to it. I got this book somewhere for the low years ago. Found it tucked away in one of my boxes, and I never read it. Wished I'd have read it sooner. Got a lot of great points and insight in it. As you know, Keith Sweat is a six-time platinum renowned American R&B singer, songwriter, record producer, and an early pioneer of the New Jack Swing music movement. He was born on July 22nd, 1961 in Harlem, New York. Keith Sweat's music career took off in the late 1980s and he became known for his smooth, sultry vocals and romantic ballads. Some of Keith Sweat's most popular songs include Twisted, Make It Last Forever, I'll Give All My Love to You, and Nobody. He has released multiple successful albums throughout his career and has collaborated with various artists in R&B and hip hop genres. Keith Sweat is not only a talented musician, but also a successful entrepreneur, having founded his own record label and production company. His influence on contemporary R&B music is widely recognized, and he continues to perform and create music that resonates with audiences worldwide. Overall, Keith Sweat is a highly respected figure in the R&B music industry, known for his soulful voice, romantic lyrics, and enduring contributions to the genre. This book is called Make It Last Forever, like the hit song he recorded that became a national anthem for relationships around the world. The ideal is to provide insight, tips, messages, ideas, hints, remedies, anything that will help you find the right mate for you and or sustain your relationship. And that's what we do here. But here's the rub. This is no gimmick. This is not superficial advice. This is keeping it real at its finest. Keith starts off going in. Here's what he said. When I was working on my first album, I was crazy about this woman. We were kicking it and it was all good. At some point, she visited Atlanta for her college homecoming weekend. Cool, right? Well, the entire time she was there, I could not reach her, and she did not call me. My thought was, something ain't right about this. Finally, I hear from her, and when I do, she says she's going to stay an extra few days in Atlanta, and I'm like, whoa. So I started writing this song, Something Just Ain't Right. The song was inspired by this woman who switched up on me when she went to her college homecoming. And he says a lot of truths in this book. Here are some more examples of the things he said in this book. We'll go to chapter 7, which is named, titled, Keep Your Business to Yourself. Keith said, I have had a case where I actually told a guy I thought was my man about a woman, and the next thing I know, he was hollering at her. Thankfully, she told me about it, and I confronted my man and let him know that that wasn't proper. I recall a woman trying to make me jealous or feeling urgency about getting with her. When she started naming celebrities she either dated or who were interested in dating her, she was fine and I had an interest in her, but she didn't need to drop names like that. Me personally, I wonder who that could have been. Keith says when a woman asks him who he has been with in the past, he says it's none of your business. Go on to chapter 8, communication. Don't talk at me, talk to me. He said, I recall a woman once telling me to stop by on your way to my house and pick up some champagne. Now, the idea of me bringing some champagne to her house was a good one. I liked it, but the way her suggestion came across was like a demand. That didn't work for me. Chapter 9, being humble makes a difference. I have been around so-called celebrities who have a real problem being humble, who believe their way is the only way and that their word is the law. It's a ridiculous position to take for anyone. They will show up late for appointments, be rude to people around them, and never bother to apologize. It makes me shake my head. I agree with that. Chapter 10, fidelity must be a priority. When a situation comes down the pike that hurts you, it requires you to stand up for yourself, not lie down. It has taken me a while to come to this, but, but I understand it now. We are the product of the people we sleep with. Keith says he's not proud, but he definitely took advantage of his fair share of women even when he was in a relationship. Chapter 11. Who's the right person for you? There was this one woman who was a head turner. If you wanted to talk to her about the latest designer or the best place to shop in Los Angeles or New York, she could go on and on. She could even break down the difference between a sable mink coat and a chinchilla. She also had a list of the top restaurants in all major cities in her Blackberry, and she could easily recite the airport codes for all the cities, since men flew her around the country, so they could impress others by showing up with her on their arms. He basically said this woman was with a perfectly sculpted body to match would have been a disaster because he needed more than looks. Keith said it's acceptable to be picky. In fact, you must be picky. He said he wrote Make It Last Forever to express the values of sharing your feelings of commitment and devotion to the person in your life. He wrote There's a Right Way and a Wrong Way to Love Someone. He wrote that song to point out that we cannot just be with someone because they love us or say they love us. They have to love us the right way and the way that makes us feel good and comfortable and right. Chapter 12. Long distance relationships can work. Keith says when you're in a long distance relationship, you have to exhibit understanding like never before. I understand this particular thing as well as myself because I've been through it. And also, chapter 13, the Sweat Motel Apology Hour. His nationally syndicated radio show have offered his advice often harshly and often honestly and with the best intentions to help. Here's a piece he gave on loving two people at once. I have two husbands, the woman says. And aside from that being illegal, her problem was that she said she loved both of the men. She was juggling between the two of them. They lived in different cities, and each one was a father to her two children, and they knew each other. Chapter 15. The Sweat Hotel Confession Hour. Keith on Real Love. Keith said he had callers routinely say, I love you, to me, but none like a young lady from Detroit. She said, I have been in love with you since I was 15, and now I'm 38, and it's ruining my life. Men I deal with say, why can't you love me? And I tell them, I, I'm in love with Keith Sweat. It's crazy. How can you love someone who is not even in your life? How can I love something I never had? I listen to your music and I feel connected to you. It's like it's our world. He said she caught me off guard with that one, and of course I was flattered by the love. At the same time, I was alarmed, so much so that I did not give her the advice I should have in that moment. Chapter 21. Family Matters Matter. Keith talked about how mothers can control a son's life to whether everything he did was to please his mother and it becomes a problem with his wife, and how family and in-laws can hurt relationships. Chapter 29. Meet Your Match Online. Keith said that there was a story in Atlanta Journal-Constitution in the late 1990s about a beautiful single black woman who met a man online dating site for a lengthy time. They ended up getting married in New York. She never met him in person, and they only communicated online many months, then graduated to the phone. When they finally met, it was when they were walking down the aisle getting married, and they still remain happily married. I mean, I had good and bad online dating experiences. Sometimes you just gotta give it a try, And if you have not experienced a healthy relationship and haven't seen one, then there's still hope. So this concludes the book I read. It's a great book. I recommend you go check it out. You know, it's been tucked away years in one of my boxes, and I came across it, like I said, and it gives a lot of insight, and maybe it'll help someone. I appreciate you all for listening once again. Thank you. Good night.